Let's see this matchmaking video. I'm keen to see what these devs have to say. All the cope stops here, the juice. Let's give it a watch.
Rivals, I'm Zuyong. We've heard your passionate feedback and ongoing discussions about matchmaking and ranking in Marvel Rivals.
And to be clear, the problem is not the matchmaking, it's the ranking, how it ranks players that is the problem.
Your voices matter, and we want to give you a transparent look into how these systems work and what we are doing to improve them. Quick heads up, any numbers used are for illustrative purpose only, and the calculation process is also simplified for easier understanding and does not represent the full detailed formulas. After every competitive match, your score is calculated based on two key components, base points and performance points, each weighted according to your current rank. The formula looks like this.
So it's like MMR. They do have MMR. That's why I'm getting less in my damn games.
This depends on match outcome, your current competitive score, average competitive score of the enemy team.
Yeah.
First, the match result determines whether you gain or lose points. Win and you will gain points, lose and you will lose points. Second, the difference between your competitive score and the enemy team's average competitive score affects how many points you gain or lose. If a player's competitive score is lower than that of the enemy team, the system recognizes that the player is challenging a stronger opponent. In this case, a victory will grant an extra bonus to the base points, while a defeat will result in fewer points deductions. The reverse applies when facing lower ranked teams.
All right, we already knew that.
Examples. Players' competitive score 3,500. Enemy team's average 3,500. Win plus 20 base points. Lost minus 20 base points. Players' competitive score 3,500. Enemy team's average 3,700. Win plus 25 base points. Lost minus 15 base points. Players' competitive score 3,500, enemy team's average 3,300. Win plus 15 base points, lost minus 25 base points. This reflects your individual performance tailored to your hero's role. Performance points reflect how well you played during the match. Because heroes in Marvel Rivals have widely different powers and roles.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. And I'm curious what he's going to say. What if you make the proper swap in-game in an open queue format to a different role and play better on that role but get less stats, right? I just don't think that their performance-based matchmaking is at a point where it can do this yet. I just don't. I just don't think it is.
Just totally up stats. Even if two players contribute equally to the outcome, their raw stats may look very different depending on which hero they played. Instead, to accurately evaluate your impact, we use several steps to calculate performance points. For each hero used in the match, we normalize match stats to a per 10-minute value and convert that into a single performance value. We compare that to the average performance value for that same hero at your rank, also per 10 minutes.
This is the problem, okay? And Overwatch had the same issue where Sombra players, remember this, like Fitzy, I love Fitzy though. Fitzy had a 48% win rate and was top like 100 with because his stats compared to other Sombras were that much better, but the hero, it just wasn't there, right? This is just bad, and it just needs to get scrapped. It needs to be scrapped, wipe your butt with it, scrap it. It's not good. This is not the answer, man. Maybe I was wrong earlier when I said they could do it, but this convolutes everything and makes it so hard, and it makes a lot of sense. It's how you would need to do performance-based SR, but this is why it's fundamentally flawed. No amount of stats can tell you who won the game in the right moment.
That gives a hero-specific performance coefficient. The better you perform versus the average,
I'm wrong.
The higher your coefficient. If you played multiple heroes,
what's better mean?
we time weight those to get your match coefficient. We then compare your performance coefficient to your team's average to determine your final performance points. Examples. A Diamond 1 player spends 4 minutes as Loki and 6 minutes as Invisible Woman in a 10-minute match. Let's break down the performance points calculation. First, the system converts their in-game stats to 10-minute averages and then convert them into performance value. Assuming Loki has a performance value of 1,200, and Invisible Woman has 1,000. Next, the system finds the average performance value for Diamond 1 players with those heroes, which we will assume Loki and Invisible Woman both are 1,000. We then calculate the performance coefficients. Loki's coefficient is 1.2, while Invisible Woman's is 1. This is then weighted by playtime. The overall coefficient works out to be 1.08. Finally, this player's coefficient is compared to the other 5 teammates. Let's say that they are 1, 1, 0.8, 0.8, and 1.15,
so you're above average for
resulting
your
in an average of 0.97. This gives us the final adjusted performance coefficient of 1.11.
Just have a teammate like play bad for bad stats and then you win. That's like, I don't know, man.
Once both your base points and performance points are calculated, your final score is determined by weighting these two parts. The weights vary by rank. As you climb the ranks, the weighting of base points will gradually increase, while performance points weighting decreases.
Again, like you could say it explains a lot of things, right? Like, again, I'll have to understand how the coefficients work better, but like it's so much easier to get enormous amounts of stats on Cloak, right? Like I could abuse Cloak and get a shitload of elo because I know how to get my teammates to stack in my bubble. So I feel like that's too abusable. I really do. And honestly, the more I look at this, the more I think maybe it shouldn't be, maybe it should just be about if you win or lose the game. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know, man. But like that doesn't equate to winning or losing a lot of the time, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know.
In lower ranks, performance points have a higher weight to help skilled players rise faster. Higher ranks shift weight towards base points for consistency. Example, a player wins a rank match, earning 20 base points and 30 performance points. If the player is in silver, with a base point weight of 0.4 and a performance point weight of 0.6,
this is just going to go over so many people's head.
The final score gained is 26. If the player is in celestial, with a base point weight of 0.7 and a performance point weight of 0.3, the final score gained is 23.
Yeah, that makes sense. That is probably why you see so many people in GM without placements. That might be, and tell me if I'm wrong, acknowledgement that if you play the same stat-wise in Celestial compared to Silver, you will get boosted out of Silver more than you would in Celestial. So I wonder if that's why you see so many people up in GM without placement. And I don't know. I'm not sure if I like this system.
Our players hail from all corners of the globe, each with different time zones and connection speeds. Balancing fast matchmaking with fair matches has always been our challenge and focus for ongoing improvement. In Marvel Rivals, players are matched based on server node selection, team composition, competitive score. Once matchmaking starts,
so that's a big deal. That's a big deal, by the way. That's a big deal. So what does that mean real quick? And this is what Overwatch should do too. Overwatch needs to drop role lock. It needs to go. They match people in the open queue format based on the roles that they play. So it's almost like a preferred role queue built into the game. The problem with this game is not its matchmaking, in my opinion. I think the problem of this game is the actual ranking and how it distributes elo. That is super interesting and awesome, and that is what Overwatch should do. It needs to get rid of super tanks, get rid of 5v5, and go to some form of open queue preferred role queue. If that happens, I'm telling you right now, Overwatch will actually be a main competitor again. That is super interesting that they say that.
On your chosen server or servers. As wait time increases, the system gradually expands the search to higher and lower ranks, helping you get into a match promptly. The expansion is kept to prevent unbalanced games. Once we have 12 players within the acceptable rank range, the match is set.
That's
Teams
good.
are then arranged to minimize differences in average competitive scores. Team matchmaking is based on team size. For fairness, a 6-player team will only face another 6-player team. Finding an exact match can take time when taking into account all the factors, like competitive scores, server selection, etc. Since launch, 5-player teams have been disabled to protect solos. For other team size, the system opens up to more combinations as wait time increases. Take a 4-player team, for example. The first system tries to match with another 4-player team, but if none are promptly found, it will eventually expand to mixed teams like 4-1-1 versus 3-2-1. Longer waits means broader competitive scores ranges, and reaching the upper limit of the range can result in a difference in scores between the two teams. From the matchmaking results, this would appear to be an unbalanced battle. However, tightening the rules would mean much longer waits and a bad experience. This is the core challenge, balancing matchmaking quality and speed. Team kills make this speed versus quality trade-off more noticeable. At higher ranks, there are fewer players and they are spread across different servers, so this happens more often. So, after careful review, starting in Season 3.5, with temporarily restricted teams of 4 or 6 players from matchmaking at higher ranks, where their balanced matches are harder to find. Moving forward, we will continue to explore new solutions to better meet the diverse needs of players.
Interesting.
To help you better understand how the matchmaking system works, here's an example scenario. Suppose player A teams up with player B and player C to queue for competitive. In this scenario, player A is Diamond 1, player B is Diamond 3, player C is Platinum 1. The average rank of this 3-player team is around Diamond 3. They select only the Oregon server node for matchmaking, since there aren't enough teams of the same size and rank in the queue on this node. The matchmaking system gradually expands the search range as time passes.
Dude, it's impressive that they
After
made this
5 minutes,
freaking
the
video
system finds
explanation
9
in
more
like a couple
players
weeks.
who meet the criteria. These 9 players include another 3-player team with an average rank of Platinum 1, a 2-player team with an average rank of Diamond 2, and 4 solo players: player D, Diamond 1, player E, Diamond 2, player F, Platinum 1, player G, Diamond 2. To ensure fairness, the system first places the 2 3-person teams on opposite sides. Then, the remaining team compositions are Side A, 3-player team plus 2-player team plus 1 solo player. Side B, 3-player team plus 3 solo players. Now, the exact team split is determined by the solo players to make both sides' average ranks as close as possible. The fairest division is Side A, 3-player team, Diamond 3 average, plus 2-player team, Diamond 2 average, plus player F, Platinum 1. Side B, 3-player team, Platinum 1 average, plus player D, Diamond 1, plus player E, Diamond 2, plus player G,
I mean, yeah, you
Diamond
kind of
2.
already knew this was a thing. I mean,
In this scenario, there are still notable rank gaps within each side. For example, Side A's player F, Platinum 1, and Side
you
B's
already
player
kinda see
D,
this in your
Diamond 1,
games.
each have a 2 to 3 division differences from their teammates. This means there can be internal team imbalances. Assume once the match begins,
But,
the role selections are
problem
as follows.
the problem was I had a
Side
game
A-
like this where I carried a guy that was GM 1 and I was Celestial 1 in my same lobby. He was throwing the game. I got him on the leash. He just was not up to par. And I had to micromanage and coach him to stop throwing the game and running the game down. And he got more elo for the win than I did. That was such bullshit. And like that's why the system is so wrong. That guy should not get more elo when he's the dead weight and trolling the game.
The 3-player team picks a Vanguard player A, Duelist
Respectfully.
player B, and Strategist player C. The 2-player team chooses a Vanguard and a Duelist player F. A Duelist main sticks with his preferred role instead of filling the missing Strategist slot. To balance the team, the Duelist player B from the 3-player team fills as a Strategist. Side B, the 3-player team picks a Vanguard, Duelist, and Strategist. Player D picks an additional Strategist, player E picks another Vanguard, player G picks another
It's
Duelist.
kind of overcomplicated. It doesn't
We
matter.
believe that this is a situation many players have encountered before. In this case, Side B has a strategic advantage, as all 6 players are playing their main roles. On Side A, a
Interesting.
Duelist main is forced to fill as a strategist. And the lowest ranked player is also playing Duelist, which may weaken the team's synergy.
Well, also, like, this is the problem with trying to balance out, and this is where things get tricky, right? The reality is, strategist is the most important role in this game, but it's also the most forgiving. So is that taken into account too, right? Like, how do you do that? And that's why my answer is it should just be about if you probably, maybe I'm wrong, but when you get down that rabbit hole, it gets a little bit scary, right?
Recently, we have received a lot of feedback from the community, with many players believing that our matchmaking system employs EOMM,
Oh, here it is, here it is, here it is.
engagement optimized matchmaking. This would imply manipulating the matchmaking queue to keep players' win rates around 50%, ensuring they remain engaged in the game. We want to be clear. Marvel Rivals does not use EOMM. So, why do some matches feel uneven? Why do certain players encounter win or loss streaks? We would like to take this opportunity to provide some insights, hoping to clarify some of the confusion for everyone. In a competitive two-sided game, the fewer players on each side, the more accurately the competitive score reflects individual skill. However, as team size increases, this accuracy drops, since even if both teams have identical average scores, other factors like teamwork and coordination can sway the outcome. Additionally, because we don't lock roles, players might end up playing a role they are less comfortable with, which means they may not perform at their rank's full potential. Even if you are assigned your preferred role, playing a hero you are less skilled with can also affect your impact in the match. So, why don't we add role queue? First, we believe that allowing players the freedom to play as their favorite superheroes and team up with others to create diverse creative team compass encourages more varied strategies and gameplay.
In hindsight, going to role lock was the route. Instead of adding hero bans to address Brigitte, going to role lock, and I was a big role lock advocate, was the biggest mistake Overwatch made, and the game still, to this day, suffers from that decision in 2019. There's a reason why that after 10 years, 8 to 10 years of domination from Overwatch, where no other hero shooter that came out could compete with it at all, that Marvel Rivals was the first game to do it. And the reason why they did is because they nailed the formatting of the game. It's not because the game engine is more optimized. It's not because the gameplay is smoother or looks prettier. It's because they nailed the formatting and the features of the game, and the hero designs were fun with a relatable IP and brand. That is why it succeeded. And the main thing holding Overwatch back in this day and age is its formatting. The formatting destroyed the creativity and the fun of the game, and that is why people play hero shooters. And I was on the wrong side of history. Frida was right the whole time. Hero bans were the way to go. And after playing open queue, and here's the next kicker, the big mic drop, they have preferred role queue built into their open queue matchmaker. So you still get the benefits of open queue, but you still get a little bit of that role lock in there. It's a middle ground where you don't sacrifice the creativity of the game. And frankly, Hawk was right as well about role lock homogenizing tank design. A hero like Roadhog just doesn't work in 5v5, even in 6v6 role lock sometimes. He's always best played as like a third tank, right? A DPS tank hybrid. It allows you to have way more unique designs when making characters. And he was right about that. Marvel Rivals has the best matchmaker in all of the hero shooter genre. Marvel Rivals matchmaker and formatting is the best. That's not the problem with the game. It's how it's distributing ranked SR and ELO. It's the ELO distribution that's the problem, and the lack of placements that's the issue. It's the ranking system. It's not the matchmaker.
Second, adding role-based matchmaking would significantly increase queue times, while still failing to fully eliminate skill discrepancies between matches.
There it is!
Where there are choices, there will be differences.
And that's what he said too, because when we went to role lock, it didn't actually eliminate the skill disparagement. It can't calculate the different matchups. Like, it didn't actually solve that problem. It didn't. That problem wasn't solved. It just made queue times longer, and the same thing still happens, right? So there were a little bit of time where, you got to play your role, but to me, in hindsight, the trade-off is just not there. It's not there.
Objectively, it's quite challenging to have an equal number of players across the three roles. To strike a balance between matchmaking speed and fairness, the competitive score ranges for each role would have to differ. Roles with fewer players would have lower competitive score thresholds, while roles with more players would require higher thresholds. This, in turn, will lead to greater variance in match quality. We are working to introduce more interesting vanguards and strategies in future updates to give players more choices, but these changes will take time to develop. We thank you for your patience.
Okay. That answers why.
Statistically, win and loss streaks are a matter of probability. For example, if two sides are truly 50-50, over 3 games, the chance of 3 consecutive wins or losses is 12.5%. Over 10 games, the chance of 3 or more wins or losses in a row rises to 50%. So, over enough games, everyone will eventually experience win or loss streaks.
Yeah.
For those interested, you can use tools to calculate the probability of achieving a streak, whether it's 5 consecutive wins or 5 consecutive losses, under different win rate scenarios over 10 matches. Of course, the game isn't pure math. Several in-game factors can increase the likelihood and impact of streaks, making these experiences feel more pronounced. For example, team average scores are rarely perfectly balanced, so actually win rates may not be exactly 50%. When queuing consecutively, you may face some of the same players in back-to-back games, which can carry over the outcome chance from previous matches. This is even more common in team matchmaking, where the pool of available combinations is smaller, especially during off-peak hours or in less populated regions. Even if the probability of a streak occurring is just 1%, Marvel Rivals' large player base means many will experience them.
Yeah. Great video. Great video.
We are constantly analyzing feedback and refining our systems. Your trust and input help us shape a better experience. Thank you for being part of the Marvel Rivals community. We are excited to keep improving with you.
Yeah, honestly, a great video, and they hit the nail on the head. Like, listen, again, guys, I'm telling you, there's more of an issue with how it determines what ELO you get for wins or losses rather than the matchmaker itself. They've implemented the best matchmaker, in my opinion, by having preferred role queue in an open queue format of any game. This is what Overwatch should do too. If Overwatch did that and they got rid of super tanks, I unironically would consider going back to play. No joke. If Overwatch did this matchmaker, it would actually be something I would wake up to consider playing every day. No joke. They could get rid of 6v6 open queue and they could just make that the main format of the game. And I would play. On God, I would play. It would be good. It wouldn't, and then you wouldn't have to have super tanks anymore because it wouldn't just be one tank. So this is actually the best stuff that they've done, man. I think it's a great video. EOMM, like, obviously, like, we've all memed about it. We've talked about it. It is definitely cope. The issue is they need real placements and to probably get rid of the performance-based SR. It's not measuring things correctly. There's no universe where I deadlift a guy who is the dead weight of the team and he gets more for winning the game. Like, how about my degree of difficulty of winning with that dead weight on the team? There's way too many intangibles to calculate to make that system worth doing. It should be about if you win or you lose. We've tried performance-based SR, and I just don't think there's a way to measure it properly. I don't. I think it's too hard. Everything in this game is too insane. There's no way to ever do it accurately, and there's no way a statistic can actually tell if you were the deciding factor, if you won or lost the game in every situation. It's bound to have a lot of errors, and I think it might just be better to say, hey, did you win or lose the game, and leave it at that. To some degree. Or maybe they need to improve it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm coping. I don't know. But that's where the gray area is. But to me, the biggest takeaway from this truly is their matchmaker itself. The preferred role queue is a big, big deal. It's a big, big deal. It shows that it does work in the open queue format, and it reduces queue times. You still find people who play the roles on your team. They got to do placement. That's it. A great video from them. So what's the verdict, guys? The EOMM kids are coping. It's the new ELO hell, bro. If people troll your games, it's not EOMM. They just trolled the game. It's that simple. So very, very interesting stuff there, guys.